Good evening, I guess, two of you, everyone. Okay, so first of all, thank you for coming on time. I really appreciate that. I see you guys all the time, so great job. So I like you to keep being punctual. I think that's a good quality for, not just engineer, but, any professionals that goes on to, work in a company. You should be punctual. That's a good quality of you guys, okay? So today we're still in this topic right here. So data processing with Pandas, because that's kind of the big thing that I want to, explore. Okay. So again, we're still using the same file from last time. So last time we only go through just one of them. So the file looks like this. So C1 and C2237. So that's kind of the big topic that we're going to cover. So right now we're in C2, so handling duplicate data. Okay, so it's not that complicated, but really, really useful once you start to work with tons of big data. Finding duplicates can be quite annoying and quite tedious. But Panda is a wonderful tool to do just that. Okay, so let me just go through this, shall we? So we're going to run the first cell to make sure that you can select the right kernel. Okay, there you go. I got it. Okay. And so right now I have a very, very small data. Okay, I'm just going to run this cell. Okay. And as you can see that there are some duplicates data. Namely, if you look into this particular line, right, there's even one right here. So, when you have duplicates data, usually that's a sign of something wrong with your data source. And, you should remove it, basically, because there's no new information, okay? So first, I want to kind of identify it first, because, keep in mind that we typically don't see the whole data, right? But we want to ask Panda, show me some, duplications. Okay, so I'm going to say df.duplicated. Okay. Okay, and then let me just do this first, shall we? Okay. So notice what I'm doing here, because the thing that's returning is actually a series. Okay. And this series in particular contains true or false. So again, it's like last time, or maybe the week before, when I was saying that you can ask questions and you can get answer, right? But then this is more like a lot of questions. So I was asking if there's any duplicates or not, right? And then Panda is going to give an answer saying that which rows are duplicated. So we have how many rows? We have 6 rows, so we have 6 answers. Okay. And as you can see that, there are false and true. So the row that's marked with false is going to be the row that is marked as not duplicated. But the one that is true is going to be the one that's duplicated, right? So as you can see here, so the first row, right, and then the last two, they are the same data. But keep in mind that when we remove duplicate, we don't want to remove everything, right? Because we don't want to lose the data. So we want to keep one copy, right? And we remove the rest. So that's why the first row is false, right? And then we're going to remove the last two. That is the same as the first one. So then we don't have missing data, right? We want to keep the data, okay? So again, if you just do duplicated like this is the default behavior. Or if you want to be more specific, you can do keep equal first, okay? So it means that you are going to keep the first occurrence of the duplicates. So that means the first row is going to be marked as not duplicated, right? And then the last two is going to be the one that, we should get rid of it, okay? But then we can do the other way, meaning that, maybe you want to keep the last occurrence, but then remove, the one prior to that. And then you can do just that. So I'm going to do df.duplicated. But now I want to keep last. Okay? Again, what I got here is an answer, right? Saying which row should I remove, right? but now you're going to see the pattern because the last row is going to be false because we want to keep the last one. But then the one which come prior to that is going to be true. So this one, if you want to remove it, that's the one that's going to be gone. Okay. Again, we're not moving it yet, but this is kind of like the candidates for removal. Okay. And sometimes you just might want to just count the number of duplicates row. So you should be able to do that too. So df.duplicated, okay, same thing, but I'm going to chain one more operation, which is sum. Okay. By summing it, it means that I'm going to sum the whole thing, meaning sum all of this. And whatever's true is going to be counted as 1. So we're going to sum all the true occurrence. So we're going to have 2 duplicates. Although when I say 2 duplicates, it means that we have 3 rows, right? But then the 2 of them is kind of extra, or it should be gone, okay? All right, so maybe, if we want to actually see, what kind of data that is duplicated, we can also do that too by using what's called the Boolean indexing, right? Remember, this is almost like filtering, like if you recall from the movie database, and we want to select the movie that has this particular attribute, right? Particular director or rating. I was telling you that we should create the true or false, and then we can use that to selectively display whatever row that corresponds to the true occurrence, okay? We can do exactly just like that because the duplicated function return the booleans, right? We can put that boolean and then show whatever duplicates are there, okay? So I'm going to do this. df, or actually whatever the things that I want to do is field, right? It's like filter, okay? Field equal df.duplicated, okay? Again, if I were to look at this, then this one gives me the boolean, right? I want to put this back into my data frame so that I can only show the one that is true, okay? So I can do df field. Okay, this one works the same way as when you were filtering your data frame, okay? And you can see right away that, these are the 2 rows that, it's marked as duplicated, and, you should remove it, okay? Okay, keep in mind that if you see 2 rows, that means there are 3 rows of data that has the same, that are identical, okay? Okay, so, if we want to drop it, there is also another function that you can just call right away. So df drop duplicates, okay? And that's it. If you do this, then you're done, okay? So, no matter how big your data is, in the end, you just call this operation one time, and you can be, you can rest in peace, knowing that your data is no longer duplicated. I think that's a very cool trick, a very cool operation to do, and very easy to do, okay? Again, if I were to do this, okay, so this one, again, does not change your original data. Similar to how, all the Pandas operation, if you want to change the original data, you have to be more explicit than this, okay? For example, you have to do in place equal to true. Okay, so that would make your original data change. Okay, so I'm not going to do that yet. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. Okay. All right. So this is one way to drop the duplicates with the last occurrence, meaning that you're keeping the first row. Okay, but then you can also drop the duplicates, keeping the last one too, if that's if you desire it. Okay, so drop duplicates, okay? But then I'm going to keep equal last. And that means that I'm keeping the last row, okay? As you can see from the index value, right? We're keeping number 5, but we're dropping 0 and 4, for example, okay? Okay, so that's, that's something that you can do very easily in all of your data if you're using Panda. There would be no reason not to do it, I would say, because it's just one line and you can rest in peace, okay? But let's check out the real data because that's more like a real world example, shall we? So the data that we're looking at is called adult.csv. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, I'm going to go into the folder called data, okay? And there's a CSV file called adult. Okay, so this is how it looks like in Excel, okay? So there are like age and things like that. Okay, that's not important in this topic. But, I want to see, like right now, I have the data that contain about 3,000 rows. If you want to find duplicates from Excel, I think that's pretty tedious, so good luck doing that. But let me show you how to do that in Panda. Okay? So we're not going to look at it again. We're going to load it in. Okay? Again, the command to load the data is just pd.readcsv, and then these are the location to the file. Okay? So keep in mind that you have to have the data like this too. So you've got to have the adult.csv, locating in the data folder. Okay, so it has to be this exact place for this following path to work. Okay, so if you forgot this, please make sure that you put the data in this particular location. Okay, so let me just load it. Okay, it's all loaded. Okay, if I want to display the first few rows of the data, I can do adult.head. Remember, head means that you want to see 5 rows. If this is too much, then you can do head 3. Just look in the first 3 rows, right? You can do tail for the last 3 rows or last couple rows too. Okay. Another thing that we can do is we can do .info. That's also my favorite ones to do. So adult.info. That will give me the column names, the data type, if I am curious about it. But in terms of the things that I want for here, it's actually I want to see if there's any missing data. Although this is not the focus of this particular file, but you can look to see if there's any missing data, right? There are about 32 or 46 entries, right? And you can kind of go through this, and knowing that your data contain no missing cell, right? That's it, okay? That's good, that's good. But then, I want to see if there's any duplicates, right? Because missing data is one thing, duplication is also something we need to get rid of, right? And let's check it out, adult.duplicate, right? Again, if I were to call something like this, I will get a lot of answers, which, I mean, this one too much now. I have 3,000 answers. But I just want to do some. There you go. There are 9 rows that needs to go away. So there are 9 duplicates, right? That's pretty easy to do comparing to kind of find it in the Excel. Don't you think? Okay. And we can even just inspect which row or which kind of data that got duplicated by, again, using the filtering techniques. So I'm going to do field equal adult.duplicated, right? So that one gives me lots of answer, right? I want to check which one is true, right? So I want to do adult, and then I want to put in that Boolean index into it. And that's going to give me just the row that is duplicated, right? Isn't that cool? So these are all the 9 rows that has identical rows somewhere in your data. And maybe you can inspect why these data got duplicated, maybe something wrong with how you collect your data and things like that. So that's pretty powerful, right? And then I want to remove all of these duplicates, right? So let's do that. I'm going to do adult, okay, drop duplicates, okay? Just one function, and you can rest in peace knowing that your data is all clean, okay? That's it. Okay, you can kind of inspect real quick that your data has fewer rows than the original data, because the original one I have about 3,246, so 3,246. This one has slightly less, so 3,237, so a couple lines left, so less than the original data, which is a good indicator, okay? again, this process did not rewrite your original data yet, okay? So actually the one that in my solution, I actually put this into a new variable, which you can certainly do that too. So I'm gonna store this results into adult_dd, so drop duplicated. Okay, so that way I have both copies. Okay, so adult_dd. And now I got the new data that is clean, okay? All right, pretty cool, okay. So remove duplicate row, keeping the first occurrence. I thought I did that already. Maybe oh, this one just display. Okay, so actually I put it in the wrong cell. Oh, this one count the total duplicate, sorry. So yeah, sorry, I put it in the wrong cell. So this one's gotta be right here, okay? Boop, okay. And then the other one, it just simply just display the duplicate row. So I'm gonna copy this one here. So I actually skipped something here. I might have skipped something. Okay, this one count the total number of duplicates. So yeah, so adult.duplicate.sum. Okay, so I don't remember which one I skipped, but yeah, let's just make sure that is correct, shall we? Like that. Okay, so I sum it up. Okay. Okay, so this one identify the duplicate rows. It's the same thing. Okay, never mind. Okay, I removed it. All right. So display the shape of the original and the clean data sets. Okay, sure, I can do that too, just to make sure. So I'll do adult.shape, right? If I do print adult.shape, so give me the rows and columns, okay? So this one is 3,246 rows. I'm going to do adult.dd.shape. You're going to see that there are slightly less number of rows for the DD parts. Okay, so that's something that we already did. Okay, so the other thing is sometimes you don't want to remove all the duplicates based on every column. Sometimes you just want to make sure that a certain combination of columns does not contain duplicates, and that might be come into useful when you want to make sure that a certain like data doesn't have duplicates, right? So let's do that. Okay, so right now I want to make sure that the age and work class contains no duplicates. Okay, so what I can do is I can do adult.duplicated, right? But right now, instead of just just like if it's like this, then it consider all the columns. But I can do subsets equal, and that means that I only want to inspect the duplicate just for the combination of age and work class, okay? Just like that, okay? So if I were to filter, the duplicates row for you, you'll see what I mean, okay? So let me just show you this, adult, and I'll just do the filter, okay? So right now, if I were to do this, then I would just seeing that, so I guess this one, okay, keep. Let me see, I want to do false. Let me keep equal to false. What does it mean? Yeah, okay. Okay. So right now, if I check the age and work class, okay, where did I see? Okay. Okay, I guess it's hard to see here, but I guess you have to take my, unless I can sort it. Let's see if I can sort it. Okay, sort value by equal age and work class. Okay, do I see it? Okay, so this one actually, no, okay, it doesn't work like this. Okay, well, you kind of have to take my word for it because it's kind of hard to show it here. I think if I work it out, then probably can show you, but not for now. Okay, but anyway, this one will make sure that your data contain no duplicates between the combination of these two columns. Okay, so that's something that you might want to do, I guess, in certain contexts. Okay, so adult DD2, something like that, okay? So if I want to drop the duplicate, I can just do drop duplicates, something like that, okay? So that's what it is. So adult DD2.shape. So right now you can see that there's only 368 rows left because there's a lot of duplication between these two columns, okay? Okay, that's again the moral of this. I guess the upshot for this topic is there's no reason not to run this, I guess, because it's very useful, okay? Next up, let's do filtering, shall we? This one is kind of similar to what I show you with the movie database, but this one I'll just make sure that you are aware of this functionality, okay? So I'm going to do C3, filtering and sorting data, okay? Okay, so let me just run this file, this block real quick. Okay, done. And then this one, I'm actually show you about the Boolean filtering, the Boolean index, which I already show you, okay? But let me just show you one more time, okay? So this one, I'm showing you that I have this series in here, or actually this is data frame in here. And I want to create a Boolean filtering. So filter equal, if I say true, okay? True, true, okay, and then false, okay. And if I were to put df.filt in here, whatever I got from here is actually, I guess the location of the index where it is true in here. So the first 3 indices, will get shown, right? But then whatever is false, that particular row, get hidden per se, okay? And usually I do something like this, df with a filt in here, but I guess there are other, a longer expression, which is df.locked, okay? And I can do filt with all the column, okay? That would be the same thing. So I just want to mention that, you can always do the long notation with the lock, right? But then people usually just do this because it's much shorter to do, okay? All right, or I can do another thing is I can do filter based on the index value. For example, I can do df, right, dot value, and then if I were to make sure that it's, I'm asking a question where if it's less than or larger than 0.5, I can see that the value, whichever value that is larger than 0.5, the row, it's actually going to get the answer true, okay? And then I can put this one back into my data frame, and then I can just filtering whatever value that is larger than 0.5, okay? So I'm going to say df, and then actually I usually filt, okay? Filter, and then I'll do df filt, okay? And that will give me all the value that is larger than 0.5, okay? Or you can also do the long way, which is df.locked, right? And then filt, and then all the columns. Same thing. I guess this one will be a shorthanded way. Okay, something like that. Okay, you have seen this before, okay? Boolean indexing with the filtering, okay? But this one just kind of show you one more time, okay? And also, I can do sorting, okay? Wait, Boolean filter based on column value. Wait, I did that already, right? Okay. Oh, okay, sorry. Actually, this one belongs down here. Sorry, okay. This one's actually based on the index value. Okay, so I'll just do this one more time for you. So I can do df, but now I want to do index. Okay, so df.index, right? I can also do index larger than 3, okay? And again, I will get the array of Boolean. I can use that to filter my data. Okay, so fill equal, and then I can do df of filt. Okay, same thing. Okay, or I can even do just less than or equal to 3. I will get the first 3 rows. Okay, so So the upshot for this is that as long as you get the Boolean back, you can use that back into your data frame and then filter the row correspond to the true occurrence. Okay? Okay. Next up, I want to sort my data frame. Okay? Again, if I look at my data frame, it has, a mixed values, jumbo values in here. I want to sort it. And the source value is actually quite easy. So first, I want to sort index. Okay, so the indices is right here. So I can do df.source_index. Okay, and then when you sort, usually you should input the option of ascending, meaning from small to large. Okay, if I want to do large to small, so the other reverse sort, then I want to do false. If it's ascending equal to false, means it goes from large to small. Okay, so right here. So right now I'm sorting the indices. Okay, but another way that is actually more useful is actually sort the value itself. So I can do df.sortValue. Okay, and now you have to say by, which means that what do you want to sort based on which column, and this one the column is called value. Okay, again I want to do ascending. Okay, equal to false. So right now, I think sort value with S. Sorry, misspelled. Right. So if I do ascending equal to false, that means that I'm going from large to small. Or I can do the other way. So true, meaning from small to large. Okay, something like that. All right, so you have seen this before, but let me show you a more complex data, and you should be able to work with it, with similar techniques. There's no change. Okay, so the data is called Chipotle. So Chipotle is the Mexican restaurants. Okay, I don't think they have the restaurants in Thailand. I'm not really sure. It's like Taco Bell. Okay. So right now we have, quite a number of data, right? We have about, 4,000 lines of data, right? And we want to kind of sort and filter and things like that just to analyze this data a little bit more, okay? And these are the cells. Basically, the customer comes and order, so there are ordered ID. And then in this particular order, you can see that there are quantity of things that the customer ordered, right? And I think there's some price in here. Okay, so there are unit price in here, item price in here. Okay, so let's analyze this data, shall we? Okay, so I'm gonna close it, and I'm gonna go back to my code, and I'm gonna load it. Again, make sure that you had your CSV data in your data folder. Okay. So I'm gonna run this one real quick. Okay. Again, we have a lot of rows in here, but we don't need to display everything. We just need to kind of look into the first few rows. So I'm going to do shipbo.head just to kind of check, what kind of data do I have. Okay. So right now, as you can imagine that I have set the index column equal to the ordered 0. So the first column is going to be my indices. Okay. And then the rest is going to be just the normal column. So quantity, item name, and other things in here. Okay. Okay. So again, let's just check to see if there's any missing data, right? So shippo.info. Okay. And again, this one shows me there are about 4,622 rows, but there are in this column, there's no missing data, but there's sums in here, right? There's actually a lot of missing data in this particular column. But this one, it's actually okay because this one is more like a description. So maybe we don't need descriptions in all of the menus in here. So we'll just leave it like this, okay? But if you want to make sure that your data contain absolutely no missing data, you can do something about it, right? You can actually just fill in the missing data with the known, kind of default value, okay? So let's do that too, okay? So right now I said fill the missing value in the choice description because we identify that this column contains missing data, okay? I want to fill it in with empty string so that at least I know that I have taken care of it, okay? So I'm going to say shippo, okay? And this one goes back to the topic that we visited last week. So it's going to be fill NA. Actually, I want to choose this particular columns, right? And then I want to fill NA, which means that I want to fill in all the cells with missing value in this particular column with something which is empty string, like this. So at least there will be no missing data, but just empty strings, okay? Right now. So if I were to execute this line, again, I will get the copy of what it would look like if I were to replace this one into my original data, right? But at this point, my original data has not been modified yet. So if I want to replace this one back, then I need to do the assignment. Okay, so I'm going to do shippo, and then I'm going to do choice description one more time. But now I'm going to use the assignment. Okay, so this one meaning that whatever you got from here, put it back into the same column. And right now, this is a way to modify your data. Okay. Okay, so if you want to check if your data is taken care of, then I can do shippo.info one more time. And now you can see that my choice description column contains the same number, right? So that means that there's no missing data anymore. Okay. Another thing that we need is that right now, our item price has a slightly, a little bit of problem because price, it should be a number. But right now, my price is in string. So what happened? Okay. If we take a look back into our data, you see right away why. Okay. Right now, our item price contains this dollar signs in here. And, Panda just treat the whole thing as a string. Okay, so we need to convert this back into number so that we can, sort and things like that. So it makes more sense to store the price as number. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so this one is going to be a bit of a little more advanced, but you can kind of follow along and see if it makes sense to you. Okay, so first I'm going to pick the whole column. Okay, so I'm going to do shippo. And then I'm going to do item price. Okay, so right now this is picking just that particular column. If I just run this statement, I'll get the series that has the column, right? And then the next thing I want to do is I want to process the string. So first, I want to do this dot string, okay? When I do dot string, it means that I want to activate the string methods. Okay, so that's kind of like a details in here, but just kind of trust me on this. So dot string, so that I can access the string method. And the string method that I want to access is called replaced. Okay, as you can imagine that I want to get rid of this dollar sign. Okay, so I want to replace the dollar sign, okay, with the empty string. Okay, so if I do this, then right away you can see that my dollar sign is gone. Okay, so that's the first step. So that's good. Okay. But this is not done yet because if you just remove the dollar sign from the string, you still get the string, as you can see from here. So the data type is still string. I want the data type to be a number. Okay, so there is a convenient way to convert your string into number if it can. So dot as type, and I will say float. Okay, so that's a lot of things in here. but dot as type meaning doing the conversion. And then you can put whatever variable types in here, like floats, okay? And then if you run this, you'll get, similar looking data. But right now, if you inspect this particular data type, it will say float 64. Okay, so this one is kind of a neat way to do. Okay, and again, all of this that I just typed, it did not modify my original data in any way. So this is more like a, just a preview. Again, if I want to prototype things, this is a good way to do, right? But when I'm ready, then I can put this back into my column so that I can work with it, right? So again, I will do assignment. So I'm going to say equal, and then I'm going to do the same column, shippo, and then I'm going to do item price. Okay, so see how I do this? So first I prototype my code so that I know what I want, I get what I want, and then I replace it back into the original data. Okay, again, all of this will go into this particular columns. Okay, so right now, if I were to do shippo.info one more time, then you can see that my item price column has the data type to be floats. Okay, so that's much better. Okay. One more thing that I can do is actually calculate the unit price. Okay, because I want to see which item is actually more expensive, regardless of the quantity that the customer buys. So I want to create the new column. In order to do that, I will do shippo, and then the name of the new column, which is called unit price. Okay, that's going to be equal to, actually, you know what? This is not the way that I do. The way that I would do is actually I want to prototype this first. So I'm going to do shippo, okay, and I want to see item price first, okay. And if you want the unit price, you need to divide the price by the quantity. So I can do divided by shippo. And then I will do item, actually quantity. Okay. So that is more like what I would do, in reality. So I try to, prototype my code first like this. Okay. So this is what I want. After I get what I want to put this back, or I guess creating a new column for my data frame. So that would be shippo. But then this one will be the new name. And you can use the new name, and that's going to create a new column. So unit price, right, equal, like that. Okay? And again, if I were to do shippo.info one last time, I think, and now we can move on to the main topics. So right now, I have additional columns called unit price, okay? And this one has, the same number of rows. Again, that's pretty good. You know what? I can just do .head too if you want. Okay, so display this. Okay, and then shippo.head. Okay, it's always good to verify your data. So I'm going to see if I have this, one quantity. Actually, this one might be better. So the price, the quantity, and the unit price. So that makes sense. Okay. All right, so let's move on to our data analysis, okay? So you can imagine that right now I have about 5,000 rows, right? I want to extract certain type of information from this data. The first thing is I want to show unit price for each item in the data sets, okay? So you can imagine that right now I have a lot of duplication because customers buy the same things all the time, right? But I just want to see just the unique combination of all of this, right? So this is a good way to duplicate with a certain type of columns. Okay? So right now, if I were to, first, I want to check whether I have, item name, right? My item name, and I want to see the price. Okay? But keep in mind that I want to make sure that I got all the prices, because the same item can have different prices, in time. So I want to make sure I see all the unique combination between item name and item price. Okay, so that's a good way to do duplication with subset. Okay, so I'm going to say shippo, okay, and then I'm going to do, actually, we can identify it first. So I'm going to do shippo, okay, duplicated, okay. But I can say subset equal, okay, I'm going to say item name and then item price, okay, field equal, and then I can just take a look at it to see what I found, okay. All right, so these are the things that's going to get removed. So basically, there are name and price that are duplicated, which is good, right? Because customers buy the same thing all the time, but then I want to get rid of all the duplications, okay? So once I kind of, prototype this one, I can just say, I want to drop it. So again, I can just do this. Drop duplicate, okay? I think the name is with the S, okay? Okay, so right now I drop the duplicates and I see this one, again, I have not changed my original data yet. Okay, so this one's like a preview, okay? And this one is good because now I have item name and then I have the price, right? But all of these are unique. So right now I can, analyze my data in a more, I guess, convenient. It's much more convenient to have non-duplications in my data, okay? I'm going to name this one shippo underscore DD, which is drop duplicates, okay? Done, okay? And then I want to sort the results by the unit price. So I want to see which item is actually the most expensive. Okay, this is going to be sorting, okay? So I'm going to do shippo, that I have dropped the duplicates, right? And then I want to do dot sort value, okay? And then I'm going to say by, okay. So here's the thing. If I only sort the value by unit price, so let's try that first, okay? So unit price. Actually, what I want to do is I want to sort by item name first, okay? You'll see what happened, okay? So the first thing is you can see that there are duplication in item name, but it's duplicated in here because it's actually different price, okay? Again, with this too, this one has the same name, but it has different price, okay? So I think it might be nice if you can sort the item name first, right? But then within the same item name, I actually want to sort the price from high to low. And this kind of thing is called the multi-sort operation. Actually, you can do that in Excel too. But in Panda, all you need to do is actually just putting in more things in your list. You can see that I can say by, and it's followed by a list, right? If you put in more than one items in here, it's actually going to do multi-sorts. So I'm going to do item price, okay? And right away, you can see that I have item name sorted first, according to the alphabets, right? And then within that same item, I'm going to sort the price from low to high. Is that pretty cool? So that is multi-sort in action right now. And even more than that, even cooler than that is actually, if you want to make, the item name sorting in a certain direction, but then the item price in another direction, you can also do that too with just a simple line of code. So I can do ascending, right? Usually when you do ascending, you just say true or false, but you can make it into a list. And then you can say that, you know what? For the item name, I want my alphabet to go from A to Z, so true, so from low to high. But then for the price, I want the high to low. So that means that it's going to be reverse sort for the price. So right now I have, if you look at the same item name, now my price is actually from high to low. Okay, so that multi-sort operation, I think is very, 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 very cool because you know what? If you have, like a really complicated, like multi-level sorts, your code still look the same. And then, it looks pretty readable to me, I think. Okay? And then if you want to display the first 10 rows, as I was mentioning here, then you can do multiple things. You can even rewrite your data. Because sometimes if you just only sort your data, then you can rewrite it back into the original data. That would be no problem. You didn't lose any data, right? And you can do shippo dd.head. And that will give me, actually if you do head 10, then that will give me the first 10 rows of, my results, okay? Okay, so that's one way to do. Okay, so let's move on to do something a little bit more involved. So I want to see the item name with the unit price larger than 10, okay, $10, okay? So the first thing is right now, if I work with my shippo DD data, you can see that my item name is actually, it's duplicated, right? So I want to make sure that my item is actually not duplicates anymore. Wait, actually, sorry. The name should also be unique, and then I want to make sure that unit price is larger than. So first, I want to create the Boolean filter. I want to filter all the item with unit price larger than 10. Okay, so let's do just that. I'm going to say shippo dd, right? I'm going to choose the unit price, okay, larger than 10, okay? This operation will give me Boolean indices, okay? So this one will give, I can put this result back into my data frame to filter just the one with price larger than 10. So filter like that, okay? But then if I put this one back, you can see one thing that's going to happen. Filter, right? Okay. So right now, it's okay. But then the name is kind of duplicated, right? Item name duplicated a lot, right? So what I want to do is actually I want to drop duplicates so that I only see the first item, okay? So let me just do this. I want to drop duplicates, okay? And I want to do subset equal to item name, okay, like that. And then I want to keep the first, just keep the first occurrence, okay? And there you go. Now I have all the item names that are actually unique, right? And then I know the price of it too. Okay, so that's kind of thing that you can do, in one line of code, basically, with this kind of operations. Okay. Next up, I want to see what is the most popular item. Okay, so right now I need to do ordered counts. Okay. So right now, what I can do is I want to go back to my original data. So shippo, the one that has lots of duplicates, right? Because this one, I want to count them, okay? The idea is that I want to see if, there's a lot of orders correspond to that particular name. So what I can do is I can do shippo and then item name, right? I just pick one column that has the name, right? But I want to do dot value count. So I want to see, how many occurrence of this name, and that will give me, very easily the name of the items, but then the count that occurs in that particular columns, right? And this one I can see right away that, the customer orders chicken bowl the most, okay? I guess that's pretty delicious, I'm sure, okay? And if you just want the just the first 10, then you can do head 10, like that, okay? In most of the things that you do in data science, usually if you you just need an answer. So sometimes you just have to do something quick like this, and this is very good for that. Like just find some quick answer for the things that you are interested in. This kind of library is very, very good because it allows you to do chaining operation like this. It's actually quite powerful. Okay, next up, what's the stats or unit price of most popular item? Okay, all right, so as I mentioned, I know that the most popular item is called chicken bowl. So first, I want to filter whatever my data, extract only the line, the row with the chicken bowl, okay? So first, I want to have the filtering. So this one filtering, right? I want to do shippo again. And I want to do item name, but now I know that it's going to be equal to chicken bowl. Okay, again, it will give me a bunch of answers. I want to keep them as a filter, like this. Okay, and then I can put this filter back into my data frame, shippo, and then filter like that. And that will give me all the rows that contain chicken bowl, right? And I want to do the stats, meaning mins and max and average and things like that. And a very, very good function for that is called describe, okay? I have kind of mentioned this one, a couple weeks ago, but I'll just put it in here, okay? So right now, if you call the describe function, it will just pick only the column with the numerics value. And then it will give you, all the basic stats that, you might want to see. For example, I can see that, the item price for chicken bowl, there's a mean value of about $10, okay? But then there's also, I don't know why, 32.1, almost $33 for this one. Oh, I think that's because that's a quantity, okay? So that's fine, that's okay, all right? But again, maybe the unit price might be more revealing, right? The mean value for the unit price is about 9.6, but then the chicken bowl price can also go up to 11, at some point, okay, and I guess as cheap as $8 too, okay. Okay, so what is the 10 most expensive item ordered by unit price? Okay, this one should be just sorting, okay? So let's check this one out, shippo. Okay, I'm gonna choose the one with the drop duplicates because I only need the price. I don't need, the duplication of the item name. So I'm gonna say shippo DD. I'm gonna do sort, right? So I'm gonna do sort value, okay, by. And then the column name is called price, unit price, okay? And I think that's it, okay? That one is actually from low to high. So actually I want to do from high to low. So I do ascending equal to false, okay? And that will give me from high to low, okay? So the most expensive item is actually this barbacoa salad bowl. Okay, I never heard of this. Okay, some, I don't know, Mexican foods in here. Okay, and again, if you want to just pick up the 10 most expensive items, then you can do head 10, and that will just give you 10. Okay, so it goes from barbacoa salad bowl to carnitas bowl. Okay, very good. Next up is how many times was a veggie salad bowl ordered? Okay, so that's filtering to see, the ordered, how many ordered, correspond to this salad bowl. Okay, so I can do filtering. So shippo, and then item name, okay, equal veggie salad bowl. Okay, again, this is the filtering, right? And then I can just say, put this one back into my data frame, okay? And then these are all the row correspond to the salad bowl. But then if I want to see, if I want to count how many times this one got ordered, then I can just do shape. That would be the easiest way. So right now, it gets ordered 18 times, for example. Okay. And you can also do something even more, even more elaborated, right? This one, how many times did someone ordered more than one can soda? Okay, so we have to do with quantity. We have to do item. Okay, so I want to do the filter with multiple conditions. Okay, so first I want to do filter 1 equal. I want to say shippo. Item name is going to be equal to can soda. And then I have filter number 2, which is shippo. And then I would say quantity. This one's going to be larger than 1. Okay, so almost like a movie filtering things that we did, a couple of weeks ago, right? And then what I can do is I can do shippo, but then I want to put both filter in here. Okay. And you can see that right now, if I do this, I can see that I only filter the row with item name, and then the quantity is larger than 1, right? And then if I want to see how many times, that means that I just need to inspect the row number or the count of all the rows, so the shape. So that's going to be 20. So there's 20 times that people ordered more than 1 can soda. Okay. Okay, and lastly, this one is a bit complicated, but I want to show you the power of this library and things that it can do, okay? So this one, I want to choose item with fresh tomato salad salsa as ingredient. So this one is pretty complicated. Let me explain what I'm going to do. So if I look at shippo DD first, okay? I'm going to see that some of the items actually contain tomato salsa, okay? Right here, tomato salsa. So I want to pick out all these items that contains the word tomato salsa in the description. Okay, so this one is a bit more complicated. So let me show you what I can do, okay? So first I can do shippo DD, right? And I want to choose the description now, show its description, so that contains the ingredients. Again, if I just run it, you can see that this one is a series, right? It's a column that contains all these ingredients, right? But I want to check if it contains tomato salsa. So I can do dot string, dot contains. Again, this one is a function that's extremely useful when you deal with string. So if it contains some of the things that you specify in here, it's going to give you true. Okay? So I'm going to ask, so show me the row, I guess, that contain fresh tomato salsa. Okay? And again, it's going to give you the Boolean again, and you can use them as the Boolean index again, right? So I can say this one, it will be my field. Okay? And then I can do shippo DD field. There you go. I have about 62 item names that has tomato salsa in it. I mean, there are some duplicates names in here because it depends on the unit price too. Okay. Okay, this one is not too bad, but check out the last one. The last one is pretty cool. Okay. So I want to add a new column. Okay, called the number of ingredients. So it should count the number of ingredients in the choice description. Okay, so that is pretty complicated in terms of when you do this, you have to look into the list of this, and then kind of extract how many ingredients it has and build a new column. Okay, so if I were to do something like this, again, I want to prototype my code, meaning that I want to do step by step. So let me show you this. I want to do shippo DD. Okay, you can choose any any data you want. Okay, shippo or shippo DD is fine. But then I want to check out my num ingredient. Okay. First, I want to do, wait, what happened here? Shippo, sorry, actually I want to do choice description. Okay. Again, if I do this, you're going to see that it contains the a string, right, with the list of I guess with the list of ingredients in here. Okay. So what I want to do is actually I want to extract all of this out. Okay. But it's a string, right? So I need to have like a string methods in here. So I can do dot string. Okay. And I can do first, I want to get rid of all of these brackets in here. So these brackets, it's kind of in my way because I want to separate things, but I don't want brackets. So I want to replace, okay, the brackets like this with just empty string. Okay. And you can see that now my column does not contain any opening brackets anymore. Okay. But I can do even more. I can do dot string one more time. You know what? And then I can even do the new line because it looks nicer. Okay, I can do this. Dot string like this. Can I do this? Oh, I can't. I'll just do string. And then I want to replace one more time. And now I want to do the closing brackets with empty string. Okay. And now all of my data it's much cleaner. Okay. And then what I want is actually, I want to kind of split things, right? Because I know that my ingredients actually separated by this column, right? This comma right here. So I want to do string dot split. Okay. Again, this one you have to kind of know the methods, but I want to show you how we can just keep chaining things. So I want to split the string by comma. Okay. And that will give me a string, kind of like a list of things separated by the string, okay? And then what I want to do is actually I want to apply the len function. And now I got the number of ingredients, okay? So again, this one is pretty long, so let me just format the cell for you. Okay, it goes like this, okay? So again, this one is pretty long, but the way that I do it is that I just kind of chaining the operation and then kind of prototype my data, okay? And lastly, I can just do this. I can just do shippo and then the num ingredient, okay? So right now I can do this, the new column, okay? Wait, something wrong in here. I think I should not have this one. Let's put it back here. Oh, actually, let me just run the whole thing. Okay, no. Oh, shippo DD, sorry. I got the wrong one. Okay, got it. Okay. And then if I want to sort my item with the highest number of ingredients, I can even do that too. So I can do shippo DD, sort value by, and then I can say num ingredients. Okay, and then ascending equal to false. Okay, and there you go. I can have my item with a lot of ingredients in here, and yeah, you can see something like this. Okay. All right, I know that this one is kind of intense in here. Okay, but I just want to show you, how like your data analysis with Panda typically look when you want to do like sorting and filtering operation. Okay. You have more chance to practice, in the homework and also in your project, which actually I'll talk about it right after this. But I'll give you some, 10-minute breaks, and I'll see you later, just a bit, okay?